What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Videohomicide, back with another movie review slash recommendation. Today we're going to go back to the year 1974 to take a look at a film that's directed by Roy Ward Baker, who also directed Scars of Dracula, and Chang Cheh, who actually was the guy that's behind like One-Armed Swordsman and a bunch of really fucking top-notch 70s and 80s martial arts flicks, so check him out. But this is the final installment in the Dracula Hammer franchise, man. I can't believe it. You know, it's 9 films and they all have their moments, and some of them are stronger than others, obviously. It's, you know, Freddy Krueger films are the same, Jason films, all that shit. When it comes to franchise stuff, like, you're gonna kind of, you know, not everyone's gonna be a banger. So I had a lot of fun watching these films. So the next sort of batch of movies that I want to check out are the Hammer Frankenstein films, although I might give it a little bit of a break, sort of watch some other types of movies, because I've been sort of deeply rooted in, you know, the gothic stuff, which I do really love. But, you know, I feel the need, like, ever since watching this last one, I really want to check out some martial art flicks again, man. So this film is it takes, like, it's a conjunction between Toho, or excuse me, not Toho, Shaw Brothers and Hammer. So two sort of monumental film companies coming together and making a Dracula, a vampire film. Like, basically, this monk is traveling along the countryside and he ends up going to Dracula's castle, and he's got this fucking like really badass oh no, that fucking chain, that necklace part, I don't think that happens just yet. But basically, he shows up at Dracula's castle. Dracula wakes up. It's not Christopher Lee. It's some other guy who's fine. He's sort of doing a Christopher Lee impression, I guess. But, you know, he transfers his soul into this monk's soul. And, you know, there's these, like, you know, other vampire cults all around the world. It's not just in Eastern Europe. It's also in Asia and all this stuff. So he ends up going to China to be a fucking one of these 7 golden vampires. These vampires that are like totally dead. They wear gold masks. It's pretty dope. He ends up it ends up flashing forward like 100 years. So like it starts off 1800s, then we're in 1900s. Peter Cushing back again. Fucking love this guy. He's like a professor they sort of like blow him off. They're sort of like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. But this one kid is like, hey, I believe you, and I'm directly connected to this in one way or another, so can you help me out? And Peter Cushing, of course, being Peter Cushing, is like, I'll pack my cigarettes. You know what I mean? The fucking guy, all he does is smoke cigarettes and be a gangster, for fuck's sakes. He's a pimp. I love Peter Cushing, by the way. Basically, there's a ritual in this pagoda, which is like the, you know, when you think of Asia, like almost temples, Asian temples, Chinese temples. I don't know like exactly what they're called all over. They're probably called different things, but I think in Japanese culture they call them pagodas, and this is actually Chinese. So, but there's this badass bat chain. It's like a big fucking golden chain, like necklace, that Peter Cushing, or excuse me, the 7 deadly vampires are utilizing in their rituals. But the one kid ends up stealing it somehow. Like it's basically passed down from generation to generation. These kids that are this family, or these families of this town that are fighting against Dracula or the vampires. One thing that's really dope about this film is there's a really good fucking scene in a graveyard where like all these dead bodies are coming out. It looks really good. It's, you know, if this wasn't connected to Dracula and it was just its own thing, I think it would work. It might even work better, because Dracula's sort of like, you only see him at the beginning for a little bit and at the end for like a second. So it sort of plays along the lines of like Bewitched or like Black Magic, like these really, you know, crazy not martial arts, but like these Asian horror films. Like, this is a good one, and there's a lot of good fights. There is a long fight like in a cave, really good fight at the end, and fights all throughout. There's a good fight in the street. There's this girl who's like a total rich broad that wants to pay for this expedition for them to go on, but of course she wants to come with. And you know, Van Helsing's son is there, but Van Helsing's son is like into this Asian chick, but I think that the girl that's financing it is into him, so that doesn't really fucking matter. But there's a good ambush where these bats, they fucking they come like they're on the wall in this cave, and then they jump off the wall and then go behind like another wall, and then boom, they're like these big motherfuckers. It's awesome. Really good playful editing there. I liked how at one point, okay, so one guy gets an arrow through the neck. I remember that. It shows tits in this film again. The second Dracula Hammer film that actually shows tits, like full on. Peter Cushing alludes that like a statue of Buddha is the same as like a cross for vampires over there, which I thought was pretty interesting. They mulched Vamp with pitchforks. So there's a scene where this fucking vampire is getting killed, and they just mulch the fucker with pitchforks. It's pretty crazy. Basically, at the end of the film, like the way Dracula gets killed is he just sort of he gets speared, and then he turns into ash. It was sort of weak, but again, they're not all winners. This one's definitely worth watching if you're a fan of martial arts films and of Asian horror, definitely. So, with all that being said, it's been a real a treat talking about all these vampire films with you fuckers. So, 666 and adios.